Hey gang, welcome back to Egotastic FunTime, the podcast. Yeah, I'm casting pods now, and you know it must be important because it's on the internet. A very special thank you with whipped cream and a cherry on top to this episode's sponsor, St. Valentine's Box of Chocolate. She can't yell at you with a box of chocolate in her mouth. Today I got some stuff I want to talk about, like one thing everybody is doing on the social medias right now and how important it is that it's actually run by an algorithm. Yes, an actual occasion to be thankful for the almighty algorithm. I'm also going to be giving my thoughts on Paramount Plus's first attempt at a Star Trek movie with Section 31. And we just had Valentine's Day, you guys. Let's talk about how V-Day went for me and my wife. But right now we're diving into something that honestly I wouldn't have even paid attention to if it weren't for the conversation that followed. Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance at the Super Bowl, or Superb Owl for those of you that celebrate. I didn't watch the game. I don't watch the game. I don't care about the game. I had to work, Jack. Bills ain't gonna pay themselves. And I don't care about the commercials because at some point in my life, I realized everything is just an advertisement trying to get people to open their wallets for someone who doesn't care about them at all beyond their spending habits. So let's cut through the noise and talk about what actually matters here, the art. So as expected, the general Super Bowl audience hated the halftime show. They always do. Every year, people ask why the NFL doesn't book an artist that appeals to a football audience, and every year the answer is the same. The NFL isn't just catering to the people who watch the football. They're catering to the millions of other viewers who only tune in for the spectacle of the halftime show. It's a balancing act between football fans, casual viewers, and the broader cultural moment. And as always, that balance leaves some people thrilled and others enraged. Except that one time Janet Jackson flashed one of her nasty boys. A lot of people liked that one. Some people pretended to be offended by it, but we know they probably liked it the most. Girl power, Karen, get with the times. This year, Kendrick Lamar took the stage, and just like every artist before him, he was met with a wave of criticism from those who felt like he didn't belong in that space. The usual talking points: who's this guy? This isn't real music. Why can't we have insert classic rock artists from 40 years ago instead? They'll complain that they can't understand a word of it, and then go blast Pearl Jam on their sound systems. But here's the thing, while a large portion of the crowd grumbled, another group sat in front of their screens completely locked in, because for them, this was representation. This was their voice on one of the biggest stages in entertainment. For me, this is where art becomes something more than just performance. It becomes a statement, whether people like it or not. Kendrick Lamar represents a certain part of the population, people who grew up on music like his, who see themselves in his lyrics, who understand the weight behind his words. People who also have a beef with stupid punk-ass Drake. And even if that's not the entire audience, I'll always prefer an artist who speaks directly to somebody rather than trying to be everything to everybody. Because when art tries to please everyone, it ends up meaning nothing to anyone. Kendrick's performance wasn't just a halftime show, it was a reflection of culture, identity, and lived experience. And if that resonates with a certain segment of people, even if it alienates another, then that's a success in my book. Art isn't supposed to be universal, it's supposed to be real. Plus, I kind of like that song. It's got a certain energy to it. The Super Bowl halftime show will always be a battleground of expectations. It will always be a moment where some people feel seen and others feel ignored. And that's fine. Because at the end of the day, the purpose of art isn't to keep everyone comfortable. It's to challenge, to represent, to make people feel something. And Kendrick Lamar did just that. And some people just really want to know where he got those pants from. I'm sure a certain style of jeans is seeing an uptick in sales right now. So, did you watch the performance? Did it speak to you? Or did you, like me, skip the whole thing and just catch the conversation afterwards? Let's talk about it. Hey, come back after this word from our sponsor, because I'm going to get into Section 31.
Oops, I forgot your birthday, baby. There's always next year. What's for dinner? When you were bad, and so she's mad. You could turn it around quick when you give her this St. Valentine's box of chocolate. Shut up and eat it, honey. There's chocolate in there. Thanks to this box of chocolate, she loves me again. Works every time.
Oh, the Star Trek that forgot it was Star Trek. Hey gang, welcome back. So I did it, or at least I tried to do it. I started watching what Paramount calls Star Trek with Section 31. You know, I wanted to root for Section 31, even though I really have never liked Section 31 as a concept for Star Trek. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Deep Space Nine. But I really did. I was rooting for it, because I'm rooting for this entire current generation of Star Trek. I want it to succeed. But I made it 10 minutes into this movie. 10 minutes before I turned it off. Because this isn't Star Trek, not even close. Let's talk about Philippa Georgiou. Not the real Georgiou. Not the noble, selfless captain from Discovery's opening minutes. No, I'm talking about the Mirror Universe Georgiou. The one we're now supposed to celebrate. And I just don't buy it. Let's not sugarcoat it. She's evil. Not complicated, not misunderstood. Evil. And not in some tragic, villain you love to hate way. We meet her in this movie as a young woman poisoning her family, her humble family, just to climb the ladder of power. That's not someone who's lost their way. That's not a good person who made a bad choice. That's a monster. Maybe we find out later in the movie that she didn't actually take out her family. She doesn't eat parts of sentient beings like eyeballs and ganglia and stuff like that. I have no idea, because I was out as soon as they introduced that little crane creature from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe. And I don't care how clever, how calculating, how supposedly fun and sexy she is, there's no redeeming that. And Michelle Yeoh, look, I love Michelle Yeoh. I respect her as an actress, as an action star, as an icon. She seems really cool. But this role, this specific slinking, ever calculating, always a step ahead, femme fatale with a knife in her boot role, it doesn't fit her in my opinion. It wouldn't fit anyone, because nobody should be playing it. The character just doesn't work. Not as a protagonist, not in Star Trek. And I know what Paramount is going to say. Oh, we're showing a different side of the story. The world of the villains, isn't that cool? No. If you're going to tell a villain's story, then at least make them sympathetic. Make them someone who was broken by the world, someone who had no choice. Give us a tragic arc. Make us feel something for them, like Joker did, or Khan in Wrath of Khan. But Philippa Georgiou? She was born in a nightmare reality and decided to be its queen. She's the opposite of everything Star Trek stands for. Oh, but that's the Mirror Universe, JP. It's supposed to be like that. I don't care. I don't care about the Mirror Universe having its own movie. Sure, there's been some awesome episodes of Star Trek with the whole Mirror Universe thing going. Enterprise did a great job with a 2-parter Mirror Universe episode. A lot of fun, but they had a lot of goodness wrapped around it first before they introduced this nightmare world that's on the other side of the looking glass. She needs to be redeemable sooner in the story if you want to keep my attention, bud. And look, if Star Trek were in a healthy place right now, if Paramount was out there making what some people consider real Star Trek movies, then fine. Throw in a bad one every once in a while. The original franchise has been doing that for years. One experiment. That's fine, but they're not doing that. This is their big launch into Trek movies on streaming. This? A heist movie where the heist leader is an irredeemable tyrant? Star Trek is about boldly going, seeking out new life and new civilizations, inspiring people to be better, not watching a Terran empress backstab and smirk her way through the galaxy like she's some kind of Mirror Universe Danny Ocean. You want to make a Star Trek movie? Make Strange New Worlds. Make a Strange New Worlds movie. That's the closest thing we've had to Star Trek in years. It almost gets there, almost, and that's what we need. I would say make a Picard movie, but Picard Season 3 was so damn good, I think an additional movie would lessen its impact. Fans have been practically demanding, no, they have been demanding a Star Trek Legacy series. But that could also be a great series to introduce with a film. Not this, not Section 31, not Philippa Georgiou, not everything that you know about Star Trek and how Star Trek became this utopian universe is a lie because we had to do bad stuff to get there. Well, if we had to do bad stuff to get there, then the getting there never existed. We're not a great utopian society. If they're ever going to retcon something, retcon Section 31, get rid of it. And certainly not a Star Trek that forgets what it means to be Star Trek. Despite this faux pas by Paramount, I still, though, invite everyone to watch a lot of fun Star Trek shows on Paramount Plus. Lower Decks, Strange New Worlds, Picard Season 3, maybe even a couple episodes of Discovery. Usually the ones that are directed by Jonathan Frakes. Those are usually pretty decent. But stay away from anything having to do with Philippa Georgiou in Section 31. Unless if you didn't really care about watching a Star Trek that is Star Trek in the first place. Not everybody does. I get it, you guys. And now for a word from our sponsor.
No, I just meant that I knew you were the one for me when I saw how hot your mom is. What do you mean? I'm a pig! Oh, I know what will make you feel better. When you were bad, and so she's mad. You can turn it around quick when you give her this. St. Valentine's box of chocolate. Shut up and eat it, honey. There's chocolate in there. Thanks to this box of chocolate, she loves me again, works every time. Well, maybe not every time. Or maybe not every time.
Hey gang, welcome back to Egotastic FunTime. You ever walk down a street in a city you've never been to, look around and feel nothing? Not because there's nothing to see, but because you've already seen it. Every coffee shop, every boutique, every overpriced burger joint, it's all the same. The fonts are the same, the people are the same, the fashion, the slang, the selfies in front of neon signs saying vibes. The two girls set up on the sidewalk with a tripod doing a TikTok dance to look like all the other girls doing TikTok dances. It's all the same. There was a time when the world had edges, had colors, had flavors, when you could step off a plane and feel like you had arrived somewhere. But now, step off in New York, step off in London, Tokyo, Berlin, doesn't matter. You're still in the same algorithm. Social media has scrubbed the world clean of uniqueness, pressure washed it with trends, and painted over it with the same recycled aesthetic. The world isn't a mosaic anymore. It's a newsfeed for your page. Culture used to be born from places, from struggle, from identity. It had weight, had history. Now it's curated, optimized, monetized. Trends move faster than traditions, faster than meaning. One day it's 90s nostalgia. The next it's Y2K. Then it's cottagecore. Then it's some AI-generated fashion cycle that no one actually likes, but they wear it anyway because the internet told them to. Authenticity doesn't have time to root itself anymore. It gets canceled before it can even take shape. And that's the trick, isn't it? It's not that culture died. It's that it got canceled, like an actor who might have said something off color on the internet 10 years ago. Not by outrage, but by boredom, by the endless churn of content, by the way nothing is allowed to just be. It has to be viral, has to be engagement friendly, has to be flattened into something that can be consumed in a 5-second scroll. And if it doesn't fit, if it's too regional, too nuanced, too specific, it gets ignored, filtered out, deleted from the algorithm like it never even mattered. We live in a world where nothing lasts, where originality is an antique, where places, people, and ideas get repackaged, resold, and regurgitated until they don't even remember what they used to be. Pumpkin spiced lattes aren't even a beverage anymore. They're a freaking holiday. And the saddest part, we did it to ourselves. Because we wanted to belong, because we wanted to go viral, because we traded culture for clout, history for hype, identity for influence, human contact for clicks. But the world can rediscover its mosaic, piece by piece, as people put their phones down and lift their heads up. Faces meet again, eyes locking in the unspoken language of recognition, wonder, and shared humanity. The streets hum with conversation, laughter spills through open windows, and the sky, so long unnoticed, stretches wide and endless above. Hands reach for one another instead of screens, and the rhythm of life shifts from sterile glow of technology back to the pulse of the earth, the sway of trees, the song of the wind. It can be different again, richer, fuller, stitched together by presence rather than distraction. A tapestry woven from the colors of connection, curiosity, and the simple act of truly seeing. Maybe even the TikTok girls might stop twerking for a second and have a conversation with each other. That's gotta be better than what we have now. Now the world looks the same, sounds the same, tastes the same, and no one even remembers what it was supposed to be. All I know is we were supposed to have flying cars by now, but instead, everyone wants to drive around in electric refrigerators. I guess that's cool because it's on the internet, but not as cool as liking and subscribing to Egotastic FunTime.
Oh, well, excuse me. I didn't know when I promised to love you forever that meant I have to take out the trash every damn day. No, screw you. When you were bad, and so she's mad, you can turn it around quick when you give her this St. Valentine's box of chocolate. Shut up and eat it, honey. There's chocolate in there. Thanks to this box of chocolate, she loves me again. Works every time.
Doom scrolling. We all do it. You do it. I do it. You sit there, thumb flicking, eyes glazing, brain half shut down, but just awake enough to keep watching the next one, and the next one, and the next one. The algorithm, that omnipresent, all-knowing force, feeds you more, and you obey. But listen, let's take a moment to thank the algorithm. Yes, it's manipulative. Yes, it's designed to keep you engaged, hooked, and possibly brain melted by the end of the night. Trust me, as someone who spends their waking hours wading through the actual swamp of user-generated content, the algorithm is doing you a massive favor. My day job is that of a social media content moderator, so I know a little something about this, something I'm sure we'll be talking about over many episodes of the show. And I'm gonna tell you something. Here's the truth. 99% of everything uploaded to social media is completely unwatchable. I'm not being hyperbolic. I see it. All of it. The algorithm is a filter, a curator, a savior of your attention span, however little of it you might have left. Without it, you'd be drowning in an ocean of human mediocrity. I'm talking about the people who post 10-minute videos explaining their lunch. The ones who think their inside jokes are worthy of a global stage. The endless, meaningless, passive-aggressive relationship drama disguised as just putting this out there. The try-hard influencers who have nothing to say but insist on saying it anyway. The painfully staged, the unfunny, the desperate for views but refusing to be interesting crowd. And worst of all, the ones who don't even seem to know why they hit upload in the first place. It's noise, relentless, grating, mind-numbing noise. And if you're one of these social media users uploading this type of, and I say this term loosely, content, your videos are not important. They are not useful to anyone. You are not talented, at least not at this. You absolutely do not matter on these platforms. Maybe you have some sort of purpose or use in the real world. Maybe someone loves you or cares about you, and you should get off of social media right now and go give your time and attention to those people in your life. That's something that's important. In the digital space, you do not belong here. You are not welcome. You are wasting time the wrong way. And I know what I'm saying is harsh, and I don't like being harsh, you guys, but I can't sit here and let people waste humanity's time like this. If extraterrestrials came to Earth and somehow got access to all these videos, they'd deem humans as non-essential life forms and eradicate all of us. So by telling the truth right now, I'm basically saving the planet. Banning plastic straws has nothing on me, you guys. So every day when I finally escape my shift at work, when I finally pick up my phone to scroll and the algorithm serves me something remotely engaging, well, I almost want to hug it. Because at least it's filtering out the worst of the worst. At least it's trying to find something that might possibly, on a good day, keep me entertained for 30 seconds. It's not perfect, I know. It still lets garbage through. But without it, the internet would be an unwatchable, unreadable, unlivable wasteland. More than it already is. And yet, let's not get too cozy with this thing. Because while it's saving you from the true sludge, it's also trapping you. It knows what you like before you do. It feeds you what will keep you scrolling, not what will make you think. It gives you the cheap dopamine hit, not the meaningful takeaway. So yeah, maybe, just maybe, put the phone down, walk outside, touch some grass, because the truth is, no one should have wasted a single second of their short, precious life creating or watching the vast majority of this content. Except for the cute pet videos. You can keep those. Those are pretty awesome. But despite all the garbage, here you are. You're listening to Egotastic FunTime. Maybe you should scroll on. And now for a word from the ad man.
I know she's your best friend. It was only that one time. You're the love of my life. When you were bad, and so she's mad, you can turn it around quick when you give her this St. Valentine's box of chocolate. Shut up and eat it, honey. There's chocolate in there. Thanks to this box of chocolate, she loves me again. Works every time. When you were bad, and so she's mad, you can turn it around quick when you give her this St. Valentine's box of chocolate. Shut up and eat it, honey. There's chocolate in there.
Hey gang, welcome back to Egotastic FunTime. You know it's important because it's on the internet. So, my wife and I got into a bit of a tiff the other day. She was mad at me because I wanted to stay home, relax, and play video games after a long week at work. I deserve to put my feet up once in a while, don't you think? But no, she's all angry and yelling at me like, "Oh, you never take me out on our anniversary, meh, 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 meh." Typical relationship stuff, you guys. But I was able to cool down the situation when I gave her a St. Valentine's box of chocolate. Now she loves me again. We're in love again. Works every time. Okay, Valentine's Day. Just saying the name is enough to get a reaction. For some, it conjures up images of romance, roses, candlelight, whispered words meant only for one person. For others, it's an overhyped, overcrowded, and overpriced ordeal. Some love it, some hate it, and some just tolerate it, checking the box because, well, society expects it. The history of Valentine's Day is as messy as modern relationships. It's named after Saint Valentine, except history can't quite agree on which Valentine. One story says he was a priest in ancient Rome who secretly married couples when Emperor Claudius II had banned marriage for young men, believing single soldiers fought better. Another tale claims he healed a jailer's daughter and signed his last letter to her, "From your Valentine." Either way, he was executed on February 14th, which is hardly the romantic origin one might hope for. And before that, the Romans had Lupercalia, a festival involving feasts, sacrifices, and fertility rituals that sound less like romance and more like chaos. Chaotic fertility rituals, you guys. So how did we get from ancient martyrs and Roman celebrations to heart-shaped boxes of chocolate? Well, over centuries, the idea of Valentine's Day evolved, helped along by poets like Chaucer and Shakespeare. I wonder what else he's written besides these poems. Then, with the Industrial Revolution, the mass production of Valentine's cards began, and before long, it became the commercial behemoth we know today. Now, it's hard to think of Valentine's Day without picturing flower shop price hikes, jam-packed restaurants, and the pressure to prove your love with an extravagant gesture. And that's why some people hate it. If you're single, it can feel like an annual reminder that you don't have someone, as if love is only valid when it comes with a dinner reservation. If you're in a struggling relationship, it's a day that can magnify what's missing. And even if you're happily in love, like I am, there's the unavoidable fact that Valentine's Day has been monetized, wrapped in red and pink, and sold to the highest bidder. Love in its purest form is free. Valentine's Day, not so much. But for me, I love Valentine's Day, not because of the pressure or the commercial aspect, but because of who I get to spend it with. I love my wife. She's absolutely worth the fuss, and the best part, she fusses over me too. This year we skipped the crowd, skipped the cliches, and went to an antique show and lunch. Something simple, something us. Because that's what love is, really. It's not about grand gestures or price tags. It's about knowing the other person, appreciating them, and making time to celebrate what you have. Not just on February 14th, but every day. Still, there's something special about setting aside one day and pretending it was made just for us. A private little holiday wrapped inside the bigger, louder commercial one. Love should be celebrated every day, but having one day dedicated to it, that's not so bad. So whether you love it, hate it, or just go along with it, Valentine's Day is what you make of it. And for me, it's a day well spent with the person who makes every day worth celebrating. Sometimes Valentine's Day is exactly what the love doctor ordered, you guys. So I wish each and every one of you this February an epic case of VD. Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about today, and I talked about it. I want to thank all of you Egotastic lovebirds for liking and subscribing to my stupid show. It really does mean the world to me. I'll see you next time, and as always, I hope all your times are Egotastic fun times. Love you, bye-bye.